Meldon Law Monday, the Buddy Martin Show. I am Buddy Martin, along shortly, the QB himself, Shane Matthews, host of Fun Up with Matthews, will join. We have a lot of golf this weekend. We like to talk golf sometimes on this show, even though you don't like to hear it. Also, we got a lot of balls to talk about. Boy, what a weekend for Florida's baseball team and the softball team. A lot going on tonight. And there's some good news on the front, maybe on basketball recruiting. We'll talk about that with Franz later. Stay tuned later on. We got a full show tonight. Lots of good stuff right here on Meldon Law Monday. Go ahead and tell your friends right now if they want to catch up what's going on in the world to dial us in right now and come join us here at Talk Sports, Talk Gator Sports. Give us your thoughts on anything and everything right here on these message boards. We love having you. So it's Buddy Martin show time. It's time for you to join us. Stand by.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening, welcome to the program. Buddy Martin here, the dumbass who picked the wrong guy to win this weekend. I didn't even come close. Possibly the worst picks I've made all year in golf. But hey, congratulations, Scotty Scheffler played some great golf. One-handedly, he owned it from the third day forward. On the program tonight, we'll talk to Shane about that, along with there is some kind of recruiting news. Apparently, Florida picked up a pretty good lineman. Good stuff to talk about with the baseball team. Boy, oh boy, come out of there as they did, winning another series. Now, getting the season to 500, that was a remarkable thing they did. And now they're on their way to Hoover tomorrow for the SEC. And, of course, as we know, softball team had another great. They end up ruling everybody. And we'll talk to Shane about that. I know he follows softball real close, but mostly he's been playing golf, which is what he does a lot of. So I guess the question of the day is, how did Shane's golf go? And also, did he win any money? Let's go find Shane and find out. Evening to the host. So pot up with Matthews. Mr. Shane Matthews. Hey, Shane.
What's up, buddy?
Well, I know you played a lot of golf. I know you watched some golf. I know you probably watched the softball. How was your weekend?
It was good. This time of the year, especially with a major championship that you can watch on TV, and then you got the regionals going on. You still got a little bit of college baseball going on before they hit their conference tournaments. Mm-hmm. A lot to watch, and I thought it was a great weekend.
Yeah, it was. I got to say, acknowledge it was possibly the worst picks ever made by me, and then some. I picked, of all people, my guys didn't make the cut. I'm thinking, here's the lesson I learned. Don't try to outsmart everybody. Just go with the player. As you pointed out when we're talking about the picks, you said, well, Scheffler won big last time. I said, yeah, but maybe he might not be up to speed. That was a joke. He finally got it straightened out in the third round. He just lapped the field. Some great play there. Also picked Justin Thomas. I think I might have mentioned Morikawa and maybe Scheffler at the end, but that's my picks. Who'd you pick, Shane?
I picked Scotty Scheffler, me and JC's picks. I had Scheffler, Aaron Rye, I think, I think he was a top 15 finisher. I can't remember. I think I may have had Xander Schauffele, who played really well Sunday. Could have got in the top 10, but he went like bogey, double bogey on the last three holes, which those are the three hardest holes in the world.
Green Mile, the Green Mile, they call it. Yeah, so now they're pulling out a lot of numbers to compare. Excuse me, a drink of water here. There are 15 tour wins, including 3 majors, before age 29. All right, you could probably guess one of them is Tiger Woods.
I would guess it's got to be Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Scotty Scheffler.
You got it, bingo, pal. You got it exactly. And now we're starting to hear the accolades. Multiple Masters wins, multiple Player Championships and PGA Championships. Nicklaus, Tiger, and Scotty. So yeah, so he's such an impressive player. Even when he's a little bit off, and he was, and his coach got him back on. I didn't realize, maybe you did, he'd been coaching him since he was a kid. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Scotty played terrible the front 9 on the last day. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize it, but he had a 1-shot lead with 6 holes to play over John Rahm, and
Rahm collapsed.
well, Scotty turned it on too, and Rahm did make some mistakes, but he's the best player in the world for a reason.
Yeah, that's a great point, because that intimidation factor, when you start hearing footsteps, Rahm did some crazy things there. You know, he really did things uncharacteristic of himself. And just for the nature that he comes at you and closes like he does, it's got to be a little intimidating, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Bryson DeChambeau did the same thing.
He did.
Well, on both Saturday and Sunday, he collapsed. So Scotty has a unique way of not letting things bother him. And I mean, he was swinging terrible Sunday first 9, 10 holes. Did not hit a fairway, and found a way to pull together and do what he does. Yeah,
before I forget about it, we'll jump around before we get to the football part and the basketball and baseball. Did you see the Preakness?
I did not.
I missed it live also, but I went back and watched the replay. What an incredible race. Pat Forty, who covered hundreds of those things, said it was one of the greatest races he'd ever seen. The horse.
Maybe I need to go watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you should go watch. He says one of the great horse races. I went back and watched it 3 or 4 times. And the horse named Journalism, he was 6 coming into the back turn, and he looked like he had no shot. And then he started making his move, and he got whacked. Some horse just absolutely almost knocked him over. And he still went to the front and wound up catching the second place horse. And our French horse over at, we talked about last time, he finished 3rd.
Sandman?
He finished 3rd. But what an incredible race. Go watch it. It's worthwhile, even though you don't have to be a horse racing fan to appreciate it. So anyway, it was amazing. So, all right, Shane, I'll give you your choice. Do you ever heard of a guy named Bird Sherrill?
Say that one more time.
Bird Sherrill or Sherrill. I'm not sure which one.
I have no idea who that is.
Well, he's the director of college personnel for Gators.
Yeah.
And apparently I've not heard this, but others said that he's gotten praise from his boss quite a few times. Mark Long wrote he left for the New York Jets. I didn't even know who he was, but I thought maybe you did.
Buddy, there's so many people in that building. I have no idea who they are.
I know it's hard to keep up. Well, I knew I didn't know who it was. Thought you might know.
So if he could walk in my house, I wouldn't know who he is.
Yeah, I know. You still don't. You're close to the team. So, yeah.
Not
So
really.
anyway. Yeah. All right. Let's go to softball, because I know that's where your heart is. And I'm telling you, those girls were amazing. I saw an interview last night with one of them. And it was just my conscience was, what incredible young women these are. How lucky they are to have Tim Walton. And Tim Walton is to have them. So they were just remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, he's built a program it's incredible what he's done, quite honestly. And this team, I expect him to roll Georgia. I expect him to make noise in Oklahoma City. Rothrock, she pitched a little bit better here and there. Struggled against FAU on Saturday, or I think it was Saturday. But, I mean, they got probably the best freshman we've ever had, Taylor Shoemaker.
She's amazing.
Probably the best hitter we've ever had. This team has a chance. And, you know, I was thinking about this the other day. I meant to bring it up on my show. You know, everybody talks about traditions. They probably have, outside of We Are the Boys, softball probably has the next best tradition, Sunflower Saturdays. It's a long story. You have to go look. Young girl was like their bat girl, died of cancer probably 15, 20 years ago, but her favorite flower was a sunflower. They wear sunflowers in their bows every Saturday, but in postseason play, they wear it every game. And it's a great story. And with postseason play, it made me think about, you know, the different traditions that we have at Florida. And I think I would put it as number 2 behind We Are the Boys.
Well, I'm glad you told me. I didn't know that. I heard Sunflower Saturday, but I didn't know.
You got to go research it, buddy. It's an incredible story. Incredible.
Yeah. So I did not know that. Well, it's been a fun team to watch. I can tell you that much. And you're right about Taylor Shoemaker. How about Kendra Falvey? She was, and Ava Brown. Those girls were just amazing. And I tell you, Shoemaker is the best hitter I've ever seen in Florida softball. I haven't seen them all like you have. But, boy, she has got a smooth swing. And she just knocked the ball. What they went? They run rule all their games?
Yeah.
I think they did, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
First time ever.
Excuse me. So they got Georgia coming up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Outdoor cocktail party. And certainly a very impressive performance by that team, by Tim Walton. So let's talk about baseball for a second. Sully didn't get Coach of the Year. I guess I can understand why, but Schlossnagle did. And we can talk about that if you want to. And Texas did not beat Florida the series. What Sully did will probably never be repeated in the SEC. I don't know if that matters to people. They were 1-11 and in SEC play, and they wound up 15-15. They're now ranked and higher. They're like 15 in one poll and 12 in another. And the amazing job they got pitching for their freshmen. And then to lose all those players, Shane, and lost 2 more this weekend, and still came out and won the series. I mean, that's one of the most amazing jobs I've ever seen by any manager or coach.
Yeah, Sully and his staff have done a great job. I think you got to tip your hat to the players as well. A lot of guys that weren't expected to play or be a part of the program have had to play a lot. I'm not upset that Sully is an SEC Coach of the Year. I think what they did was phenomenal, but it's not like the Gators were preseason ranked number 14 in the conference out of 16 teams, right? Yeah. They were highly ranked, got off to a bad start, turned it around. Texas has had a tremendous year. It's very similar to Bruce Pearl winning the SEC Coach of the Year in basketball.
Good point.
We all know what Todd did with the program, but you look at the body of work. So, look, postseason play starts now. They play tomorrow. I don't know what time the game. I think it's supposed to start at 6:30. I doubt it starts at 6:30 because it's the third game of the day, and those never start on time.
Probably raining.
They're playing a god-awful South Carolina team. Need to win that game.
And should. Yeah. So I worry about a little bit about that pitching. Rothrock, as you said, I don't know if she maybe has a little injury. I think it'd be great to give her some rest.
Well, they can't give her any rest. They did that the whole year.
Just go out there all the time. There's no.
They've documented what her injury is. It's not like it's a shoulder. It's some muscle. I don't know. Kyle Crooks was on my show. Coach Walton was on the show. They talked about it. It's go time. There ain't no more resting. This is all that matters is super regionals and Oklahoma City.
Well, they should have some nice crowds out there. That's for sure.
Yes, it'll be packed, but they play at 11 a.m. Friday.
11 a.m. Friday. Okay.
I still think it'll be packed, but
Yeah.
a lot of people have to work or what have you. But
They take Fridays off, take a slide on Fridays. So
yeah,
I don't know what you know. Probably nothing. I don't either. Stan, we're going to have Franz joining us later. And also Kevin Brockway will fill us in on a couple of things in terms of what he's found out about baseball. The big deal now in softball and the recruiting news in basketball is Boogie Fland. You know about him? Boogie Fland, right? You know about him.
Yeah, highly recruited kid out of New York that went to Arkansas.
Yeah, was visiting today, according to my sources. I just checked for him on there, and no news I can know of. But now Ruben Chinlu is coming back. He's definitely back now out of the draft. And they could be a force if they get everybody back. I don't know Boogie Fland. I've not seen any video of him, but everybody tells me he's an incredible player. Have you seen him on video?
I watched him play a lot for Arkansas this year. He,
All right.
He played really well, then broke his – I don't know if it's his thumb or his wrist was out for about 3 or 4 months, came back in postseason play. And I mean, he's an NBA player. Let's put it that way. I know he probably didn't like what he heard, but he will be playing in the NBA one day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I read some comments that were made by Rick Barnes and what he thought of the front court. And he said he always thought that the front court that was hand glowed in January was the best front court in college basketball. If they get their backcourt back, look out. And with Shindo Delta coming back, he's such an underestimated player in my mind. He's a terrific rebounder, and he does a putback shot up really well. Gets it off, and he's a batter. He does tend to get in foul trouble, doesn't he?
Yeah, Ruben, he's a really good basketball player. Has his moments, scoring at times, but he's a good defender, rebounder. If they get Boogie Fland, they got a lot of pieces they got a chance to make some noise again.
They do, for sure. And it's going to be fun again. They announced their opening game at home and all that stuff. It's going to be a heck of a year. And the only thing is I don't like you, and it's kind of tough to figure out how to do it because these midweek games, nobody goes to them. And their tennis, I looked at it today, they're like half of what the leagues are in college basketball. Their tennis is like just under 6.
You talking about basketball or baseball?
Basketball.
I think I saw that. I think they were referring to baseball, buddy.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah. We're like 6th or 7th in the conference in attendance. That's about right. You're not going to outdo your Arkansas. You're not going to outdo LSU, and you're not going to outdo the two.
Well, I beg your pardon. I looked at so many things today. I might have got that mixed up. But you're not going to outdo those teams I just mentioned. A&M, Texas, Arkansas,
LSU, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
That probably was baseball.
You're never going to outdo them in baseball.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I ran across something. I want to try to get this before we'll let you go. There's several of these polls out now, over and unders. I mentioned one last week, and there's some very interesting ones. This is from Circus Sports. Did we talk about this last week? I don't know if we did or not. It's the new over.
The Gators win total?
Yeah, I'm going to get to you on that in just a minute. So, Jack Caglione, still a stud. He's being called up to AAA at Omaha. Mm-hmm. How big of an impact will he make in Kansas City?
Well, he's got to get to Kansas City.
He will. He'll get by the end of the season. They moved him along slow.
Yeah, I don't follow the Kansas City Royals at all. But if I was in charge, I'd pull him up, put him as a DH, or put him somewhere because maybe the damn Royals have a good roster. I don't know.
Well, I do follow them a little bit because I watch the Rays. They're losing to the Houston Astros right now, 4-3 anyway. So I don't know. He's just such an exciting player, and you keep reading these tweets about how excited the fan base is getting. He has these monster home runs, and he had 2 the other day, and he's such a fun player to watch. And that's how I miss my guess. He's going to be a great major leaguer, in my opinion. He'll play a long time, I believe. And all right. So here's disappointment. Texas A&M. All right, have you heard about this? They were number 1 in the country in
Softball.
preseason. All right, number 1.
Baseball. I thought you were talking about softball.
But well, I'm getting to softball. Number 1 team in the country in baseball finished 14th in the SEC, and will probably miss the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. And the Texas A&M softball team entered the postseason as the number 1 team in the country. It just became the first top seed ever to fail to get out of their own regional.
Yeah, Liberty Flame, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's not a good situation, and they didn't exactly set the world on fire in football either. So, and their basketball coach is gone. Although some people apparently, I think you mentioned, you thought they would be better off without him. I liked him.
No, I like him too. They hired a young up and comer that runs and guns from Sanford. They'll be fun to watch. Speaking of young up and comers, do you know the story of how these coaches that get hired? I've always wondered the story of how Sully got hired from Clemson. He wasn't even the head coach. Do you know the story? No, I mean, I may have heard it, but I don't remember it. I'm
going to have Jeremy Foley on. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, and I'll have him on the show. I'm going to ask him that story, since that was his hire. He, of course, gets credit for that, and he gets credit for Billy. He does not get credit for Steve Spurrier, because he wasn't the athletic director then. But so I just never heard that story. So what a coach he's been, and what a job he's done for the Gators. Let me take just a moment here, Shane, to talk about my sponsor, Meldon Law. You know him so well. I was talking to some guys the other night who were in another city who were Gator fans, and we talked about the program, and I mentioned Meldon Law. They said, "Oh, yeah, we know Meldon Law. We hear all about Meldon Law." You hear them do a lot of advertising. They're great Gators. They, of course, been a great big year for Jeremy Jeffrey, because he's a huge Gator basketball fan, and he's friends with Todd Golden. He got to go out and celebrate the championship. He was in Texas and California. And, of course, we know that Jeffrey does many good things in the area for the Gators and for the community. Jeffrey Meldon. By the way, we mention it a lot because it's true. If you want to score some goodies, I suggest between now and the fall, or during the fall, go to their Facebook page, Meldon Law. They give away stuff all the time, and good stuff. Good prizes. Tickets are hard to get. You can get them there. They also have practice law, if you're interested, and I am. I'm one of their clients. Meldon Law, and you can call them in Ocala, Gainesville, Lake City, or Williston, and they will give you a quick assessment if you need a review of your situation, your case, or if you need to know where to go, or you want to hire them as your attorney. Check them out. Meldon Law, they won't back down. All right, Shane. Let's bring a guy in here who knows a little bit about what's going on with the softball and baseball team. He covers them, of course, and let me go back and get Shane. I lost him. Hold on a second.
Where's Shane?
I'm going to go get him right now.
We need Shane back here.
He's there. Here he is.
It's good to have him back, right?
Yeah, of course. We were just talking about the softball and the baseball.
Shane, were you out at softball this weekend or no?
I went to one. Which game did I go to? I can't remember which one it was. It was
Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday.
Well, Friday, that Taylor Shoemaker, Friday and Saturday, she looks like a female version of Jack Haglio, and I covered both those games because our guy Noah Ram was out covering Beholtz baseball down in Fort Myers, and unfortunately they lost in the state championships to St. Thomas Aquinas. So, but got a chance to watch Gator softball, and I was mighty impressed with that lineup. You know, it's amazing that Saturday game. It was 7-6 against FAU. They scored 7 runs in the. I mean, I remember covering softball 5 or 10 years ago, where it used to be the dominant pitcher and the slap hitter, and it was 2-1 games. And these girls really know how to hit now. I mean, they're really, you know, good hitters up and down the lineup on a lot of teams.
Yep.
Well, Taylor Shoemaker is terrific. Now, we'll get this in here. Franz is going to join us in a minute. Give me your quick assessment of the baseball situation. I mean, I know Sully was never really a candidate for Coach of the Year and didn't get it. Schlossnagle did. But what another incredible performance with what he had left of his team. That was amazing. And Florida now 500 in the SEC.
Yeah, I've said it before. I think it was about identifying the pitching roles, making Clemente the closer. You know, obviously Aiden King's emergence. He's been terrific. Won Freshman of the Week again this week. He was really good on Saturday. I think, you know, the big question is, you know, when you get into regionals, who's your Friday night starter? Is it Aiden King or is it Liam Peterson? You know, because Peterson didn't look great in that opening game against Alabama on Thursday. They had to rally back. So I'm almost wondering if you make King your Friday night starter in the regionals. Now, I think it'll also depend on if they're hosting or not, or who they play and stuff and how they match up. But Aiden King is really showing, you know, poise that belies his years as a freshman. Really, you know, both sides of the plate. The kid brings it. Great location, good movement on his fastball, starting to develop his secondary pitches to get guys out, knows how to work hitters. And I mean, they had 4 errors, 3 errors behind him, 4 errors.
Held it together. Held
it together. That showed a lot of points.
Awful defense. Yeah. Just awful.
I think, well, you know, part of the problem is, Buddy, is just with all the injuries, everyone is.
I know.
You know, Blake Steer was playing left field all season. You move him to second base. Bozer is filling it at shortstop for Colby Shelton. You know, he's been a third baseman most of the year. Brendan Lawson, you know, they had to move him to third, and it's been really a hodgepodge. And I think if they can get everyone back to their natural positions by regionals, I think that will help.
I keep thinking there's no way this team can keep going. They keep fooling me. It's amazing what they've done. Softball, of course, we kind of expected that. They're playing well. Shane was telling me about Sunflower Saturday, is it? Whatever what the tradition is. And he said it was the second best tradition in Florida behind We're the Boys, I think you said. Oh, don't back down.
In my opinion, yes.
Yeah. Do you know about it? I didn't know the whole story, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. And as far as, you know, traditions are concerned, you know, it's interesting because I Won't Back Down is pretty good. I'm trying to think of any other. Basketball.
I don't understand that whole thing. I know people like it, but it's kind of weird to me.
What, Don't Back Down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's okay, but it's because it's recent, I guess, and they just. I'm in the minority when it comes to that, I think.
Shane, I'll tell you what, back in the day with basketball, with Billy, they used to do the House of Horrors. They used to have the guy with the guillotine and stuff. And they would play Where the Streets Have No Name as the intro music. And that was really good. That was really rocking. I kind of wish they would bring it back, but I guess it's such an old song now. And, you know, it's a new generation.
It ain't older than Won't Back Down.
Don't Back Down is a huge deal. Nationally, it's a local guy, a Gainesville guy. It's got to be a very
But he didn't have nothing to do with the University of Florida, though.
Well, he has to do with Gainesville. They adopted it as a song. They adopt a lot of songs that are written by Gators or people from Gainesville. It was a very good move, in my opinion. I think the fans love it. I think
they do. I just think it can be kind of weird. I don't know if that's the correct word.
I'll come back and get Dan in a minute. Here's Franz. Well, I think it's a terrific new tradition, but that's not what we need to talk about tonight. I want to get back.
You don't want to hear my Won't Back Down joke, by the way. I'll tell you it later.
No, you can tell.
Hey,
buddy, you need to
Tom Petty drove a lawnmower and mowed grass at the University of Florida until Mudcrutch caught on. So, yes, he does. He was an employee. So, there is a connection.
Well, I still think Sunflower Saturday.
You weren't even born yet, Shane, when he was doing it.
Well, just, buddy, read up on Sunflower Saturday. And
Well, I'm glad you told me. I didn't know that. See,
It's a wonderful tradition, but
it's just not known well enough. That's the thing.
Right, but because people don't realize that softball is probably the third best viewing sport on campus behind football and men's basketball, probably.
Oh, we agree with that, Kevin. You agree with that?
Baseball's accomplished a lot too, Shane, and I know some people don't like it, but they do.
I love baseball.
I think especially
baseball
since they
is my
built
favorite sport growing up. But if you go to softball and you go to baseball, you're going to choose softball over baseball. Most people will because
Franz,
it's fast.
You agree with that? You agree with it, Franz? That's
my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I think the softball people would agree. The softball people are almost fanatical about it. I mean, I guess that's why they call them fans, right? Baseball people tend to be, more hit and miss. You'll find people who are there on a Friday and they'll find something to do on Saturday and Sunday. And softball people, if the softball team's playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they'll be there all 3 days.
I'll tell you another one that we're not talking about.
A good point. Give me 1 second. Makes a good point about it because it's a very popular game on TV.
Yeah.
It moves fast. It's a short game.
I will say this. If they played softball games across the street, they would fill that place up every freaking game. Every game.
Okay.
Because they don't have enough room right now. They need to build a bigger stadium, quite honestly.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. They won't get that passed.
I know they won't.
They built the stadium so it can be. You've got the berms down on either side and so forth like that. They could expand that. It seats right now, I think, about 2,500, 3,000 people, something like that. And they could expand that easily to 5,000 or 6,000 people.
Let me let Kevin make his point here. What were you going to say, Kevin?
No. The one thing I was going to say is another sport we're forgetting as far as like fan base is gymnastics. Very rabid. That's a very good. That's a very well supported program in terms of fans that we're forgetting.
I agree with that.
Yeah, certainly.
I think for our baseball program, buddy, you talked about the attendance where we're like around 7th or 8th in the league.
Right.
They need to do something to entice the student body.
Okay, like what?
Bring your own booze, like they do at Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
Really? They did that there?
Yes, you bring your own cooler.
Oh.
And
I'll tell you what,
free. They get in free.
Mississippi State, with what they've done in the outfield,
incredible.
Bring your own grill, oh my gosh. Baseball isn't a sport at Mississippi State, it's an event. It really is. But you look, Ole Miss seats 12,000, Mississippi State seats 17. They seat 11,000 at LSU. They seat 12,000 at Arkansas. Florida, the stadium's nice, but they underbuilt it. If you want to get crowds of 12,000, then you better build a stadium that can accommodate 12,000.
Yep, and then I still think all they got to do is let the students in free and let them bring their own coolers. They'll have that whole outfield. It'd be great. It'd be a great.
Mississippi State built the first left porch restaurant deal out there. Did they do that?
They just got a left field lounge where you used to pull up your pickup truck, you put a couch on it, your grills and stuff. They don't have any of that anymore. It's all concreted. Extremely nice. I like it the old way better, but
they have condos. They have 4 stories of condos that take up the entire left field to center field. It's they do it right there at Mississippi State. I give them credit. But again, if you want bigger crowds, you need a bigger stadium. You need to build a stadium that can accommodate the crowds. I understand what they were doing. They said, well, I'd rather have all 7,000 seats filled than have a half-empty stadium. But, what was it in Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. Well, guess what? Ole Miss, 12,000, and they fill that place up all the time.
Don't you
Arkansas.
think it'd be a little hard right now to do bricks and mortar when you want to get all those NIL deals done? I mean, the NIL deals are holding everything up, right?
Yeah. I just want the student body to be able to
Well, I think you have a valid idea. Don't get me wrong. I just
yeah, I mean, and look, trust me, Scott knows very well what happens at Mississippi State.
yeah.
It just won't pass here through
He built the stadium there.
the people that make the decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, it took forever for us to be able to sell beer at football games.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Well, they do sell beer at baseball games, but it's what's it like $10, $15 a pop, I think, or something.
Right.
Something ridiculous like that for sure. So.
That people bring their own, especially the students, and get in free.
Well, let's get to a subject I want to get you guys talking about, which is the basketball and the team now getting Chinlu back, and now that Boogie Flan visiting today. Franz and I've had conversation about what a monster team this could be. Shane weighed in a little bit. Kevin, talk to me about that and the reality of Boogie Flan. Is it one of these things of now you see him, now you don't, or is it legitimately a shot here from Florida to get this guy?
I think they feel like they have a shot, but I don't know, what the money situation is and what he's looking at elsewhere or if he's looking elsewhere. But I think Florida will sell, Todd will sell what he did with Walter Clayton. Todd will sell, what he has, done in terms of developing players in an effort to get him. It would be interesting to see how he would fit with Xavier Lee, two guys that could be on the ball, off the ball, how that would work. But he's a 5-star talent. You hear things about how it went for him at Arkansas. People forget he had the thumb problem too. And I mean, that was a big issue. And even when he came back, but I do look at some of the shooting numbers for trepidation and the fact that, there were some games he put up 20 shots. So I wonder, Todd's going to have to rein that in, obviously. And they're going to have to be, because he's a kind of like very similar to Walter. He's a scoring point guard, but it took Walter time, in terms of his credibility to put up that many kind of shots in a game. So I don't think that's going to happen for Boogie overnight.
France?
Here's the thing. I think the money's already been decided. I don't think it will be a money case for him. I think he's here and they're going to figure out kind of the way they did with Elijah Martin. Does he fit in with everybody else? And if he fits in with everybody else, then I think he'll be a Gator. And if he isn't a Gator, I think it's because the guys on the team said, you may be a nice guy and a great talent, but you just don't fit in well here with what we're trying to do.
All right. Now, Shane, I'll get your thoughts on that. And then I want to come right back with some over-under numbers that came out last week on wins and losses for Florida. Shane, first on Boogie, your thoughts.
Well, look, Kevin knows better. He'd be one of the highest recruits we've ever gotten here, I believe. He's that highly touted, and went to Arkansas, made good money there, had an injury, kept him out most of the year, but he's one of those guys that can score the basketball, point guard from New York City, I think. I mean, those guys, they know how to play. We get him, it'll be a plus, trust me, as long as he fits the culture.
22 nationally, Shane. So, I mean, Nick Calathis was probably up there pretty high in terms of point guards. And even Jay Lucas, who didn't, turn out. But there have been very few, Jason Williams, obviously. Well, Jason was more of a transfer, but there have been some, Brett Nelson, Teddy Dupay. There have been some big time guards that they've gotten. But yeah, this would certainly be that. Casey Hill, actually, another guy too that. I think he was number 9 nationally.
Calathis was number 11 and Boogie was 17.
Yeah. But yeah, no, in that neighborhood. And yeah, Boogie, New York City point guards, toughness, obviously, that's what comes to mind. Just hard-nosed, competitive. Probably he's got some flash to his game too. Yeah, he averaged 5.1 assists. So kid can obviously pass too. So that's another thing too. And I think, with him and Xavier Lee together, you've got 2 guards with pretty good high assist totals, so that bodes well as far as the ball moving around a little bit.
All right, let me hit a couple of numbers. Shane's got to go get his milk and cookies. It's time for him to get to bed soon. But here's some over on
Yes,
numbers.
definitely.
Yeah, over under numbers. I think we talked about this some. This is Circa Sports, and I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna read these numbers off. I want you to grab one and tell me one that sticks out to you, real fast. All right. I'm gonna start at the bottom. Vanderbilt 5.5, Arkansas 5.5, Oklahoma 7, South Carolina 7.5, Missouri 7.5, Florida 7.5. Texas A&M 8, Auburn 8, Tennessee 8.5, Ole Miss 8.5, LSU 8.5, and Alabama, Georgia, and Texas all 9.5. Does anybody stick out there to you, Shane?
I don't know their schedules very well. I do think the three teams to me that I think could, I don't know if surprise is the right word. Maybe it is. There's three teams in the SEC I think could have really good years: Oklahoma, Auburn, and Florida.
Okay.
I love Oklahoma's quarterback. I like Brent Venables going and doing what got him the job. He's taking over the defense. They got the coordinator from Washington State, and they brought the quarterback from Washington State, and they got a really good running back from Cal. Auburn has a phenomenal receiving core. They got the number one receiver out of the portal from Georgia Tech. They bring in the quarterback, forgot his name, from Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma. Buddy, you would be an upgraded quarterback over what Auburn's had the last 2 years. Okay, so he's very talented. And Auburn's played good defense the last few years. I don't know either one of their schedules, but I think those are the two teams, along with Florida, that I think are teams that can make a jump in the league this year.
All right, Shane, I'll let you go. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning on your program. Shane Matthews. What up with Matthews? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
All right, some more work for Kevin and Franz. Then we're going to have Dan Bond join us and talk a little bit of softball. All right, guys, let me start with you, Franz. What numbers jump out? Do you want me to repeat any of those?
Oklahoma at 7. Oklahoma's going to win 9 or 10 ball games this year. The quarterback they got from Washington State, he's going to be right there with DJ Lagway as the best quarterback in the league this year, and that really jumps. Florida's going to win 9 ball games. I believe that. I really and truly believe that, as long as they can avoid the injuries on the offensive line, I think they win 9 ball games this year. I think that offense. I think they can outscore people to win games this year if the offense isn't cranking, if the defense isn't getting the job done. And I don't think they've had the ability to outscore people before. And I think this year they've got that.
Okay. All right, Kevin, pick one or two.
I'm going to take the contrarian take here because I enjoy doing that, as Franz knows. So what did you have for Georgia and Alabama? 9.5, 10?
Georgia's 9.5. Alabama's 9.5.
Okay, I'm going to take the under on both of those. I think the time, because you're talking about Oklahoma. Other people talk about Oklahoma make a jump, Auburn. If those teams make a jump, it's going to be at the expense of those two teams.
Right.
And I think with Kirby, and I think Kalen DeBoer, love him as a person. I covered him when he was at Indiana, an offensive coordinator. He helped turn things around for Tom Allen there a little bit. But I just don't know if he's just a right fit there. And another year removed from Saban's players and his way of things, I just think it's going to crumble a little bit for him there. And I think Georgia too. I just think he's a little vulnerable. I just don't get this, like, oh, well, we got rid of Carson Beck and we have Gunnar Stockton. And like, did they watch the Notre Dame game when he only put up 10 points in that, college football playoff game? Like, I just, and they've lost a heck of a lot of talent on both lines of scrimmage the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm just wondering if they're vulnerable too. So I think both those teams, if you're going to Vegas, take the under on both those teams.
I'll tell you something, buddy, that we mentioned last week that I think is indicative. Florida this year is probably the least reliant team in the SEC on transfers. They've got, they may pick up another 1 or 2. I don't think so, but they may. but they've got pretty much a really solid team without having to dip strongly into the portal, homegrown guys that have been there 2 and 3 years. Georgia, I'm just shocked, And by the way, the magazines come out in another week. It's Memorial Day is Monday, and the magazines come out again, which is great because that gives me something to read for the next month or so. But Georgia, it's shocking how reliant that, with all the talent that they have recruited, that here's Georgia having to reload in the portal. Here is LSU. LSU is probably going to start 15 guys who are either first or second year transfers, and maybe more than that. Lane Kiffin's the only guy I know that can deal with the transfers, on a year-to-year basis. And I think he's scary because I think they're going to reload this year. But again, you look at these teams that are so reliant on the portal, and I think that speaks well of Florida. I think Kevin's right. I think Georgia's in for some comeuppance.
Well, I think it's about the QB, and Georgia's got an issue there. I think it's going to be not going to be an issue for LSU. They got theirs, and I think that Tennessee's got an issue at QB.
Yes, they do.
About Auburn, how they work out, but I mean those are teams that are very vulnerable there. I'm not a big fan of Oklahoma. I think people are overvaluing that. Venables is a great defensive coach. We'll see what happens to that offense. He still is the guy, even though his offensive coordinator calls the plays. He's going to be the guy. And so you got to show me on Oklahoma. I'm not convinced. And it all depends upon how the other opposition is. I want to shift over now to softball for a second, which has been a remarkable story. We mentioned Taylor Shoemaker. She has got one of the sweetest swings I've seen by anybody, baseball or softball, and what talent they got there. And Falvey, of course, is just a consummate pro. Let's bring a guy in here who follows it and writes about it a lot. Our own Dan Bond. Dan, say good evening to Kevin and Franz.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Franz. Hey, buddy.
Hello, Dan. How are you?
For having me.
Hey, Dan.
No problem.
Yeah, it's another May, and it's another good run for the softball team for sure. I mean, Taylor Shoemaker, you knew she was going to be special from day one when you saw her crack that lineup with so much talent coming back this year. And that sure has panned out. I mean, how she didn't win SEC Freshman of the Year is beyond me, but I'm sure she's happy she's still playing, and Tori Edwards is sitting at home with LSU getting knocked out last weekend, so that's good to see. I'm sure she's taking that one too.
Her threat in the lineup, Dan, makes that whole lineup better, don't you think? In terms of like, when they have to pitch around her, and you've got Jocelyn Erickson in a grand slam behind her. Yeah,
they're all lined up really well to protect each other, and I think that's really, you hear it where there's they get in a groove and they start scoring all these runs, and again they run ruled everybody this in the regionals. They're hitting well.
Jocelyn Erickson is heating up at just the right time.
Right.
And Tori Edwards, my gosh, talk about someone that had chances all weekend long and just absolutely bombed. And meanwhile, here's Taylor Shoemaker, where she got chances, the ball went out of the yard.
Yep, she's breaking the home run record and still adding to it. She's got couple more games this weekend. Georgia rolls into town for the smaller outdoor cocktail party. So that's going to be fun. Georgia, they didn't win a series all year. They've got 21 losses, lots of upsets in regionals, number one A&M loss, LSU lost at home. You got Arizona lost to Ole Miss, Liberty, of course, advancing over at A&M.
What a story.
So it's never, it's never a given, but I'm feeling pretty good about Georgia rolling into Gainesville. I mean, that Georgia played Duke, and that was basically a 3-game series. They had that doubleheader and had to beat them that one time, but that's the first 3-game series that basically won all year. But I'm feeling good about it. Right, I like seeing Rothrock getting that spin down, And if she
Best
keeps
game
on,
she's pitched in 2 months. I mean,
yeah, I think she's
she
doing
looked
great.
like the Keegan Rothrock of last year.
Yeah,
And if
like
they've got
Coach
her,
Walton said, she had more people swing and miss in those first 2 innings than the whole game on Saturday. So that was crazy.
I'll tell you what, did you watch Liberty last night, Dan?
Oh yeah, that's a solid team.
Dr. Dot Richardson from Orlando, Florida. That's her team up there, and
Yeah,
I couldn't believe LSU didn't start their ace in the final game. Holy cow! I mean, not LSU, A&M.
Yeah, some of these other smaller schools, it is like Kevin was talking about the old days of 1-0, 2-1 games, where you saw some of these little schools where the aces pitched like 200 pitches and is in the second game too, and that Liberty pitcher walked off the field and was crying because she couldn't finish it up. That's part of the emotion. I think that's really appealing to the fans is. You see that there, and the kids having fun in the dugout. So it's it's definitely been a good season so far.
I like Nebraska to beat Florida State in Tallahassee this weekend too.
That's Texas Tech. Texas Tech is
Texas Tech.
I think Tech beats FSU for sure because they've got Kennedy over there. The $1 million arm is over there pitching when she left Sanford to pick up his cap.
Who is it that Nebraska gets?
They
do they get Tennessee? They don't get
Tennessee. Is it Tennessee?
Yeah, they may get Tennessee.
I'm trying to think. They get I got it right here. Yeah, Tennessee, and they're on the Florida side, so more likely.
Jordy Ball is just wow, she's unbelievable. But buddy, I got to tell you what, Florida's chances to make it to Omaha are extremely good, and I like it that we're in the same side of the bracket with Oklahoma because we've beaten them before. Even though beating them in Oklahoma City, which is a home game for them, and they'll have 14,000 screaming Sooners there. That's a place Florida could win that and get to the finals.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to face them till towards the end because the next round I believe would be like Texas or Clemson winner is who they would match up and World Series. But yeah, Oklahoma is just another level. I got to go to their stadium, and that's a $30 million stadium where KSP is $15 million stadium. Seats like 4,800, and that's packed. It's again the arms race. Every softball team that has renovated or built from the ground up since Florida built theirs is bigger, stronger, faster, as it goes.
Yeah.
Well, they got a very good chance, but I think a lot depends upon they got hot bats right now, which is good. And they've also got some pitching yet. Ava Brown is someone I think gets overlooked. She's so valuable in so many capacities as a two-way player and someone who can play, who can hit and pitch and come in situations. Rothrock, I wish I had a little more confidence in her because I'm afraid she's missing something. And when you put pressure on your ace like that to go in a tournament, you got to have that pitching. And I think that's the one thing how Tim Walton handles her during the tournament, and when he puts her in, takes her out, whatever. She obviously has to pitch a lot of innings. I hope her arm holds up.
Ava Brown's biggest job on campus is to keep DJ Lagway happy.
You know what I noticed about Ava Brown over the weekend too is that her entrance music is Enter Sandman, which I think is pretty cool. That's Mariano Rivera, Billy Wagner, the closer music. That's pretty neat. And also, Dan, if you're going to Oklahoma City, for the finals, what if the Thunder are in the NBA finals the same week? That would, that the town will be rocking.
Right.
Because you would have not just the Women's College World Series, but you could have the Thunder and the NBA Finals at the same time. That'd be really something.
Yeah, we've got the Dallas Stars in town. They bumped Katy Perry because she was supposed to have a concert Wednesday, but the Stars are still playing. So it's there's a lot going on in this area, so that's for sure. And I mean, the Women's College World Series from way back when I started going, it has night and day difference. I mean, it is always packed. Even if OU, the few times they weren't in it over the years, way back in the day, you could find some tickets then when they got bumped out early. But there's a lot of people in town from all over, and the camaraderie is there as far as all the fans and the kids. And you were talking about the Sunflower Saturday with Heather Braswell was the young lady who was in the dugout from 09 to 2014, and she was the cancer patient and part of the team during those years. And they do the Sunflower Saturdays, and they have the yellow game once a year where you'll see them with the yellow highlights, like the socks and the uniforms with some yellow on it, which is super cool.
You know what's kind of neat? It's how the women are able to stay engaged in the game when they're in the dugout. And the cheers and the yells.
By Magnus 758.
What was that? Oh, a very, very interesting thing they do in the dugouts. It's almost that'll be paid as cheerleaders too, because they take it's really fun to watch them.
Oh yeah.
The dugouts are like a show in itself.
Yeah, they are, exactly.
I mean, it really is. I mean, they cheer. They've got routines. And Florida has a tradition unlike any other as well. You hit a home run and you hit the home plate, you get surrounded and they give you a wedgie. And that has been a tradition since Tim arrived back in the day when they had the Bash sisters in there and they hit home runs like crazy. The whole team did. That became a tradition, and it's kind of like Sunflower Saturday. It stayed on. You hit the home run, you're getting the wedgie.
Got a couple of minutes here. We got to go. We got to hit the mark. But I want to give you each 30 seconds your prediction on how things will go for the softball team. Let's start with you, Kevin. 30 seconds on how you think the softball team will do.
Oh, I think they'll get to Oklahoma City. I don't know if they have. I agree with you, buddy. I don't know if they have quite enough pitching to finish the job, but I think they'll be there and probably be in the Final Four range, similar to where they were last year.
Franz?
They'll be one of the three best teams there at Okie City. They'll get there and they'll be one of the three best. Can they finish the deal? If Rothrock's on, yes. If Rothrock's not on, no.
Well, that's what it's about, finishing the deal. And let you finish up. You got an extra 15 seconds. Dan, go ahead. Tell us what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think they're hitting it right. So I see them to the championship game. They go all the way to the championship game. Do they win it all? It's going to be tough. But, it's double elimination. So I think they're going to be all right. As long as they stay in that winner's bracket, they're going to go deep.
So they can beat that. They can beat that Oklahoma team, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma is on that bottom bracket, so I think they have a little tougher road than Florida does. Knock on wood, maybe they get upset in the Supers, but Oklahoma at the Women's College World Series is like the sun rising in the morning. It happens every time.
All right. Great stuff, guys. Thank you very much.
Hey, real quick to answer a question earlier, Brett Nelson, the number 7 player in the country, the top pick of all time, and number 10 was David Lee.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Great job, everybody. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. Want to wrap it up by telling you about our sponsor, Titan MRI. Now Titan MRI Imaging. Joe Colorio started Highfield MRI in 1997. Now he's back there. Titan MRI Imaging has 3 locations, 2 in Gainesville to serve you with Park Avenue location. Now the Millennium Center and one in Lake City serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta. Titan MRI's imaging is offering the same great service they always have, but now you can always get those extra big cages if you could have an MRI and makes it not as claustrophobic. They accept insurance through their convenient pay options. Also have other options for you. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and ultrasounds. Titan MRI and imaging, easy scheduling with lots of options, including you. Titan MRI and imaging has several locations to serve you. Check them out. You'll be glad you did. I want to thank you folks tonight for listening and watching the program. We are always glad to have it, have you and have our guests as usual. Outstanding group of people. Interesting things as we get ready for to see how it comes out. We get some softball, baseball, shoot golf, a lot of great stuff. It's really good to be a Gator this day and time, isn't it? So, yeah. So, all right, folks. Appreciate it. Good night.